Lecture 8, The Dancing Slaves. Between Art and Erotic. A lecture by Sarakan Thorn. Masters, mistresses, free men and free women, Kajare and Kajarii. I greet you, you know me, Sarakan Thorn. Some call me the living encyclopedia of Gor. Some call me the Holmes of Gor. Tonight I speak about a topic that is often misunderstood, a topic that lives between art and erotic, between beauty and desire. I speak about dancing slaves on Gor. Let me be clear from the start. This is not a lecture about pornography. This is about aesthetics, about storytelling, about the magic of a moving body that shows what cannot be spoken. Let us look at the facts. Part 1, the nature of the topic. Dancing on Gor is art, it is entertainment, and it is erotic but not explicit. The botch dance of Earth has an erotic component without being pornographic. On Gor, roleplay may go a small step further but not much. It is about suggestive storytelling, about atmosphere, about the magic of the moment. The soft erotic means suggestion, tension, seduction through movement, through the look, through the way the body stands in the light, not through nudity alone, not through explicit gestures. It is the art of the almost, the art of promise, not fulfillment. Example, the veil dance. The dancer starts with several veils covering her body. One by one, she lets them fall. The body becomes visible but not necessarily completely naked. The tension lies in the process, in the question of how far she will go, not in the goal. In taverns, the dance usually ends with some clothing remaining. Complete nudity is reserved for private performances or certain rituals. Temporary nudity exists, for certain occasions, for certain rituals, but it is aesthetic. The naked body in motion without clothes as art, not pornographic. The difference is a matter of style, of attitude, of intention. Part 2, female and male dancers. Female dancers dance sensually, flowing, smooth. Their dance emphasizes the curves of the body, the movement of the hips, the elegance of the arms. Male dancers dance differently, rougher, stronger, more powerful. They show muscles, strength that has been subdued. Their movements are more forceful, more accented, less flowing. It is the dance of a proud body that nevertheless bends. Both forms are equal, both are art, both serve role play. Male pleasure slaves exist. Male singers exist. So male dancers exist without any problem. A male dancer might also be an actor. He not only dances, he tells a story. He might speak a monologue while moving. He plays a role, the captured warrior, the proud king, the loving servant. Partner dance also exists. A female slave and a male slave in a soft erotic dance. They dance together but not necessarily with each other. They touch, but only suggestively. They dance around each other, approach, pull back. The dance tells a story of desire, of power, of longing, without showing anything explicit. That is an art form of its own. It requires absolute synchronization, trust, perfection. Part 3, venues and occasions. Simple paga tavern. A small stage, a few dancers. Simple music, hand drums, maybe a flute. The dancers perform for tips. Simple costumes, simple movements. The guests are loud, drink, throw coins. Upscale tavern. A real stage, better lighting, a small band. Multiple dancers, more elaborate costumes. Wealthier, quieter guests. Rich taverns in R. Large stage, artistic lighting, professional musicians. Elaborate choreographies, expensive costumes, jewelry. The dancers are known, desired. The guests pay high prices. Temple dances, white caste. Ritual dances, only female slaves, completely shaved, naked, oiled, painted with religious symbols. The erotic component is sacredly embedded. The white caste tolerates no men in this context. Private parties/events. A dancer performs exclusively for a wealthy client. For a feast, a wedding, an auction. The dance can be part of the entertainment, part of the presentation of goods, or simply a special gift. Private performance for the owner. A dancer performs only for her master or mistress. Intimate, personal, not for strangers. This is the most intimate form, can be clothed or nude. Competitions. Two dancers compete against each other. The better one wins a prize, money, a favor, the applause of the crowd. Competitions promote quality and are good RP opportunities. Auctions. A dancer performs before being sold. She shows her best qualities to increase the price. Part 4. Training and the Artisan Caste. The training of dancers is not solely the task of slave owners. They work together with the Artisan Caste, the musicians, choreographers, costume designers. Basic training, body posture, sense of rhythm, basic steps, simple turns. Advanced combinations, expression, storytelling through movement, improvisation. Work with props like veils, swords, torches. Specialization, belly dance, sword dance, veil dance, torch dance, temple dance. Depending on the assignment. Master class, choreography, performance, stage presence, the connection between dance and emotion. Here it is about art, not technique. The trainers are often experienced dancers themselves, sometimes free artists hired by wealthy houses. Part 5. Rewards for good dancers. Slaves who dance particularly well are rewarded. This is not only good for morale, it drives quality. Better food, meat, fruit, finer dishes. No work duties, no stables, no kitchen, no cleaning. Only training and performances. Occasional wine or treats, as recognition, as motivation. Better accommodation, their own room, a softer mat, more privacy. Jewelry or finer clothing, as status symbols, as reward for good performance. Free time, time to rest, to practice, to enjoy. A good dancer is an investment. A mistreated dancer dances poorly. A well-treated dancer gives his best. Part 6. The Dark Side. We should not only show the beautiful side. There is also exploitation and abuse. Dancers who must perform too often, with no time to rest. Dancers forced against their will into private, intimate performances. Physical punishment for bad performances, for perceived disobedience. This is not for every lecture, but for a complete picture it is important. Mentioned as reality, not as sensation. Part 7. Scent and oils. In the books, slaves are often oiled. For dancers, this is especially important. Aesthetics. The oil makes the skin shine in the light. Scent, fragrant oils like jasmine, sandalwood, myrrh enhance the sensual effect. Movement, the skin becomes smoother, movements flow better. A dancer who smells good is more desirable. A simple dance in a cheap tavern may do without oil. An appearance in an expensive tavern in R would be unthinkable without fragrant oils. Part 8. Regional differences. R civilized, elegant, controlled, technically perfect. Fine silks, gold jewelry, elaborate hairstyles, strict aesthetics, high value on perfection. Tahari desert, belly dance oriented, sensual, earthy. Light fabrics, anklets with bells, henna painting. Erotic as a natural element. Torvaldsland north, stronger, earthier, less delicate. Furs, leather, coarse fabrics, less jewelry. Dance is more robust, less refined. Pani east, slow, meditative, highly ritualized. Finest silks, elaborate hairstyles, minimal jewelry. Dance as meditation, as art form. Shendi jungle, faster, wilder, more acrobatic. Colorful fabrics, feather jewelry, beads. Dance as expression of joy of life. Part 9. Music. The music is always danceable. Emphasized rhythm that sets the tempo. Simple paga tavern hand drums may be a flute. Simple, loud, captivating. Upscale tavern several musicians. Drums, flutes, string instruments more complex. Rich taverns in R small orchestra. Professional musicians of the Artisan Caste. Temple drums may be singing. Ritual, monotonous, hypnotic. The Artisan Caste provides the musicians. They are free artists who understand their craft. They work with the slave owners. A dance is a collaboration between musician and dancer. Part 10. Technical implementation in Second Life. Second Life offers countless dance animations for every need. That is not a problem. The players should advise each other which animations fit their role play. Useful tools. Poseballs simple activation but static. Dance HUD sequence of animations. Duration per animation. Sync HUD synchronization of multiple dancers. Recommendation: simple HUDs or poseballs are enough to start. For larger events, investing in better tools pays off. Players should coordinate before the performance. Which animations will be used? How long will the dance last? Who controls what? Part 11. New slaves and Earth dance forms. A newly arrived slave from Earth knows no Gorian dances. He may know dances from his home: tango, waltz, hip-hop, Latin dances, breakdance, ballet. That is not a flaw, that is an advantage. Exotic dance forms are rare on Gor. They are interesting, they are erotic, they are different. A slave who dances a tango attracts attention not because it is Gorian but because it is foreign. The charm lies in the imperfect, the unexpected, the new. Example: slave auction. A newly arrived slave is to be presented at an auction. He knows no Gorian dance. He dances what he can: a simple waltz, a Latin figure, something he brought from Earth. The buyers are irritated, then fascinated, then enthusiastic. She dances like a free woman from Earth, says one. She is not a trained Kajira, but she has something you cannot learn. The price rises. That is role play, not perfection, not blind adherence to rules, but the story of the new, the foreign that adapts or not. Over time, the slave learns Gorian dances. He is trained. He perfects his technique. But the charm of the beginning, the imperfection, the exotic origin, that remains a unique selling point. A slave who came from Earth as a child and has been trained for 30 years dances perfectly Gorian, but he is no longer exotic. A slave who arrived a month ago dances poorly, but he is interesting. Both have their value. Part 12. Famous dancers of the past, legends. We create our own legends. Names still spoken in taverns when an especially good dance is shown. Nadira of Tyria, 200 years ago the most celebrated dancer of her time. She is said to have convinced an Ubar to call off a siege because he did not want to miss her dance. Her style was flowing, almost weightless. Kalen the Red, a male dancer from R, famous for his sword dance. He carried a short sword and danced around it without ever touching it. A master of suggestion and tension. The Sisters of Koroba, a sibling pair who danced in sync. They never performed separately. Their dance was a perfect symbiosis of movement and music. The Shadow of Port Car, a woman who only danced masked. Her name was unknown. She performed only at night and disappeared after her dance. Some say she was an escaped slave who returned for one night to dance. These names can be used in role play. A hint of Nadira, a compliment for a dancer. A Kalen moment, a particularly dramatic part of a dance. Part 13. Aging and the Long Life Serum. The Long Life Serum stops aging. Dancers remain young as long as they take the serum, but even with the serum there are changes. Experience. An older dancer does not dance better than a young one, but differently. More expression, more depth, more control. Trainer. Not because she can no longer perform, but because her knowledge should be passed on. A dancer who was trained herself now trains others. That is an honorable transition, not a decline. Choreographer. She develops dances for others without performing herself. Her talent now lies in creation, not in performance. No dancer becomes too old, but some choose a new role. Part 14. The role of the Artisan Caste. Summary. The Artisan Caste is not only responsible for music, they can also design costumes for special performances, for wealthy houses, create jewelry specifically for dancers, light, safe, beautiful, develop choreographies for special events, for competitions, create body painting as art, not just decoration. The collaboration between slave owner and artisan is a role-play field of its own. Part 15. Prices, no fixed numbers. Prices on Gor are hard to pin down. The lore knows emotional prices that seem exaggerated and others that are shockingly low. We give no fixed prices. Instead, we give relationships. A dancer for one night in a simple tavern costs about as much as a barrel of beer. An appearance in an upscale tavern costs as much as a good dinner for two. A famous dancer for a private party costs as much as a good slave. The purchase of a trained dancer slave costs a small fortune, but the price is a matter of negotiation. Players must negotiate. That is role play, no fixed prices. Part 16. No rigid rules. We set no fixed dance styles. That is not the purpose of this lecture. The dance teachers of the slaver houses in Gor develop their own methods. They work with their slave players. Every house has its own tradition, its own style, its own expectations. That is good. That is role play. We give suggestions, not laws. Closing the circle. Dancing slaves on Gor are not just decoration. They are art, they are entertainment, they are a mirror of society. They show beauty and power, desire and submission, freedom in chains. A good dancer is not broken, she is formed. Her body has learned what her will already knew. She serves, but she also shines. That is the paradox of the dancing slave, and that is what makes her so fascinating. Do not let selective BTB players tell you otherwise. The books leave room. Norman left room. Use it. The circle is yours.